Hey, what's up, man? I am going to be playing some NL200 and NL500 if I can find tables, but because it's 9 in the morning, there's not really tables going. Apart from one tough table that I just don't want to sit on. So yeah, we're going to be playing NL200. This is kind of a precursor to streaming, trying to get used to talking and not talking about detox strategy. Because my thought process will be based around the basic strategy, but I want to sort of talk about the theoretical side of the strategy more than actual strategies. So yeah, I mean, we're 3 tables, hoping to get a 4th, but nobody wants to sit with us. Yeah, we have some people who are probably multi-tabling. Take a free flop here with Jack 5 offsuit. And in these situations, we could start bluffing if we had some more equity. I think I'm just going to wait to the river and just have a go. We just squeeze here. I think I'm just going to go this size. Queen 9 we're going to flat as a recreational player behind us. It's obviously a hand we will fold to a squeeze, but it's very... I mean, generally I would flat this anyway, but it's generally just going to be a good spot to flat. 7-6. Let's just focus on this hand. Here we're just going to stab. For a half pot sizing. And here we squeeze, and now we're just going to see that. Half pot. It's a good hand to keep bluffing. We want to size generally for 70% jam, so I'm just going to half pot again, shove river. Just going to check here with no real equity. We make some showdown value. We fold to the jam. He just has a lot of Broadway stuff with pairs. I'm just wondering if it's a value bet against ace high, like half pot. I think I'm going to do it. There is a because he probably should value bet things like 10s and jacks without diamond. So I just think he would have just a lot of stuff like ace high, king high. Yeah. This ace queen hand, ace jack hand is just purely an exploitative hand, playing against a recreational player. So, I mean flop, we're just gonna half pot because we don't want to bet. Because I mean this hand we can also check with this hand and try and take showdown value with it. So we have both options, but I'm generally just gonna triple barrel against a fish because they're just gonna fold way too much. Their ranges are way too wide. And they call way too wide on the flop, but they overfold the flop, which is kind of a weird concept. But because their ranges are too wide, not only do they call the flop too wide with crap hands, but they also overfold the flop, which is weird. But like if you think about it, if you defend this pre-flop with say Jack 9 offsuit is a bad example because that's the nuts here. But like, if he defends pre-flop with like just some rubbish hand like queen 6 suited, right? He's going to defend the flop because he has a gut shot, even though it's a terrible gut shot that should never be called in the flop. He's still going to call because he's a fish. But then he's also just going to have tons of hands that are just going to fold. Like, he could just have ace 5 offsuit and just fold it, although fish also might even float that because that's what they're like. Now this table doesn't really have a recreational player, but I'm going to sit there. I don't mind the reg battle sometimes. Well, usually I wouldn't sit on this table though. I would usually just leave, look for a better one, but I'm here to make a video that will last at least half an hour, 25 minutes, so I'm not going to leave, even though I'm reg battling. This is a pretty useless note. I tried to tag all the regs as this, unless I've done some like specific stat checking against them. Undetermined reg. I used to have it. Used to have this table good reg, but now I just have a tag that tells me what strategy to play against them. So undetermined reg would mean sort of just playing a not normal basic detox strategy where you just probe everything, but like a normal strategy, but with advanced CBET protocols. That's just generally how I would play against the blue players. The pinks I play the fish lines, unless there's like certain exceptions I want to make. Yeah, Jack 4 with fold versus cut off 2.5x. And this guy being a big fish, just going to open 3BB. Very wide. I think a jack is good enough. He's thrown in the free bet though. We'll free bet this for value because even though there is a potential recreational, he's more of a like just he's got a VPIP gap, but like he's not like super loose recreational, so he's not like going to be like a massive losing player. But he has the VPIP gap. 27-13-2 is are bad pre-flop stats. So that is going to be someone who is a recreational, but they're not going to be, the massive like they're not going to be like this guy. Who's like 57-29-14. Yeah, squeeze. We just fold. Aces here. We generally just play range 25 as the advanced protocol say, or range 1/3. I'm just going to use 1/3. We can just use 25 or 1/3. Really doesn't matter that much. He just got it in for 40 bigs with Queen 8 suited. He won. Beautiful. And then here, now theoretically you would like this hand would sometimes check, but I just don't see the need to. I'm just wondering if I want overbet or not. You kind of want him to have ace-6 when you overbet. Jack X. I'm going to use 2/3 here. I could also check the turn honestly, but I just kind of want to build a pot. I could use overbet strategy, but with specifically aces I think I don't want to overbet with that combo as much. But there is a load of Jack X to get value from, so I don't really think it really matters that much. Particularly, yeah, it just barely even matters. Open A7, fish cockles. We do end up going multi-way. We're going to use a 1/3 c-bet, even multi-way, very polar, even for 1/3. So we're value betting very strong hands here, and good bluffing hands. It's kind of a weird spot because this guy's min raised us. This guy's cold called. I don't think I want to blow. I think I just want to call and see if I can realize some equity, because now he has to check a lot and check, and then the fish can check behind. King 8 off multi-way. Not the best, but I'm in position to a fish and it's 2.2x. So I'm going to just take a flop. This is a little loose, but I think it's okay because I'm in position to the fish. If it was 2 regs, I would definitely fold this. I mean, we have a good price. We just want to hit. It's just simple as that. This guy has a strong hand or a strong draw, so we just want to hit. We do not hit. We're probably not going to win this. I'm actually going to bluff raise this. I'm not really going to win this hand, but yeah. I don't want to start bluff raising there when this guy's cold calling, and nor against the fish due to their inelasticity. So by that I mean they're very sticky fish. They get a hand, he probably isn't going to fold that hand. If I re-raised, he's probably not going to fold, so I'll just be gambling. And when this guy's cold calling at a raise, like you kind of have to expect his range to be relatively strong. This hand we could mix, well we could put this into the free bet range, but I think it's a bit loose against under the gun. It might be, I think it's okay, but I cannot remember. It's definitely one I would use against cutoff. We're not going to take a flop here. Free bet. This guy was playing NL200 earlier because I looked at him. definitely a recreational player, but I wasn't playing, I was just watching the table. Hey, it looks like he's won enough money to move up. Or he's lost his money and he needs to get it back. I don't know. This is a board I can actually just range check on if I want to. It's annoying, but you know, he's a very strong advantage on this board. So we're just folding. Two 1.5x in with a pre-flop recreational in the pot. No need to use GTO sizes when there's recreationals around. Just bet. So you could open 3 BB or 2.5 BB. I tend to just go 2.5 BB, but 3 BB would be fine too. Maybe even better. If it's like a really bad player in the blinds, you can even start going bigger. I guess he decided he wasn't up for the battle. Thought no, this ain't the table for me, which is a bit of a shame because he looked special. Oh, we have a customer. Heads up versus a fish. Play polarized strategy here. On the flop, we check. And we're gonna cool down regardless of the run out. Okay, now he's checked. I'm just gonna bet turn. Half pot for value. Call me with ace high. Clear value bet here. Don't think we want to overbet. If he just has ace high a lot, king high, stuff like that, maybe you do 6. Sometimes we'll have another 4. So we're just gonna go 2/3. Could have gone half pot. If he has a 2, he's not gonna fold. Or pocket 3s. But like he's probably mainly got like ace high, king high. So like I wouldn't be against a 1/3 bet there against him specifically as an exploit. Because his range is just going to be very clearly defined. Fish has done it off. It was a matter of time, unfortunately it wasn't to us. We're going to call against this guy. This hand, mid-open. We range check this. We could, maybe not on this board. I think we would just want to have gut shots only. Yeah, but like I was very considering bluffing, but like on this 4 card. It's not actually too, it wouldn't be too egregious, but like, yeah. I just call against pot c-bet. I mean, ace 3 it's still fine, but like, I mean, I decide if I want to turn my hand into a bluff. I think I am going to turn my hand into a bluff. But it might have been a mistake. We 3-bet the ace deuce, I went too small. My normal strategy is to go bigger, but it's fine. If he 4-bets me, he was going to 4-bet anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Although if he turns up with like queen 8 suited here, I'll be pretty sad. Let me use half pot, 1/3 of half pot here. I'm just going to use a half pot. Call raise probably, with ace deuce specifically. Over in a pair, backdoor straight draw. And we've ended up heads up again, so we're sitting this one out. I think in heads up ranges is like supposed to 4-bet sometimes, but I don't really want to. But it's supposed to continue in some form. I'm going to do it anyway, fuck it. Fine. Depends if the player adjusts his strategy heads up, because some players don't adjust heads up, they just play a 6-mug strategy. If that's the case, then 4-bet in that hand is a mega punt. He's 1/3 here. It's a good turn. I feel like King Jack suited is just 4-betting pre-flop. Defend King 9. So I'm just going to go for 3 streets of value here. And like his ace 10s could also 4-bet pre-flop. I'm guessing he... Oh, what a board. Pretty cool. Not going to raise here. I just think it's very likely he just folds too much to a raise. We'll leave chance. I could generally play a more polarized strategy here, but I think on this board, specifically, I think I'm okay to block some a6. So actually, I'm going to half pot this board. I can go between block and half pot. But like the thing is, in this spot, people will either just check folding, or they have a hand that they're not going to fold, so they just check the turn with like ace-5 suited or something. So I much prefer to size up a little bit, because they're just going to call anyway, so what's the point? It's 1/3, we're just going to call with pair. 2.2x, defend 9-6 suited. It might be close to a fold, but I think I'll make an exception. I'm going to fold the turn here on this board. It's going to be really underbluffed if he bets the turn, even though we have a pair and a straight draw. If it's a block, we would continue, but he decides not to. Then we just decide on the river if we're going to bluff, because we can try and make him fold some hands, but he's also going to give up loads of hands. So I'm just going to... Oh, it's close between bluffing, to be honest. I'm going to check there, because I don't really see myself. I'm going to get out of line here. This is very out of line. But it's 69. 9-7 offsuit, definitely defend. Yeah, this is going to be kind of an underbluffed area. Don't think I'll bluff catch this hand. I was very close to bluffing the river. I like when you play on a pool like Poker Stars, I don't want to go too crazy. And 7s. Ace 10 with 3-bet, we're going to go this side then. And we just use 1/3 here. You can use quarter pot, you can use half pot. I prefer to use that size and squeeze ace 10 here. Much rather this guy fold, this guy call. I'd much rather bluff a hand like ace queen and just check this. The reason being is you want him to have a hand like ace jack, jack 10 diamonds. So now and bluff the river probably. I'm going to use shove and rip King X. This really puts pressure on people. This is why I only want to use this size. Because I do just look like I have ace 3 suited or like kings or jacks or something. Like, if I use any other size, he's way more likely to bluff. Of course, there's still hands in his range that fold, but he's way more likely to bluff catch. But if I shove, like I just put so much pressure on him. He probably still call a king, but rest of his range, I'm not sure. So fish, limp calls. We're gonna check fold, unless it's really small. gonna cold call here. This guy's a recreational player, so he does go really small. So I mean, I'm just gonna call. I mean, if I hit an ace, I basically have a hand, so it doesn't really matter. Or a 9, I'm just gonna call down. I'm not gonna do any fancy plays though. I'm just gonna fold the turn if we miss. We just make our money there by calling down pretty wide, and sometimes he'll just check the turn and we just get to bluff. So bluff pretty properly. I'm gonna call this with 2 fish behind. Against pot, I'm gonna fold in a multi-way pot. He uses donk. We actually have a hand that has such high equity that we could honestly just raise and get this in if we wanted to build a really big pot. When he raises, I'm doing nothing but doing that, because we can just get it in very, very wide, and I look incredibly strong here. I could cold call too, but I don't like, and the fish might come along. But honestly, my hand is so strong. I can just run it if I want to. This looks insanely strong, and I reckon he'll put it in quite a lot with some combo draws and some value hands. I'm not sure if this is good or bad for me. I might be drawing dead versus jam. I'm gonna check the turn. This side the river. Kinda wanna see him block, because he's way more likely to have a set. If he shoves, I think I'll fold, because I just don't see him shoving worse for value. %, was interested in size. I probably shouldn't have snap called, to be honest, but I probably should have thought about it longer. But I just kind of thought he had yeah, I definitely should have thought about like that, because he probably just had a hand like a 2 pair quite often. I'm gonna check. I'm just check all this. Now I'm gonna just use overbet, because like I think he's just bet everything that's here. He's gonna be very capped. It's only pocket threes that he has. We have a straight. I'm gonna use overbet here. I can use different sizes. If he's a good enough player to just check his entire range back on that board, then I probably don't want to use overbet. I probably just want to use 2/3. This Jack A hand, I feel like I called too quickly. I should have like really thought about what his range was. That was betting that size. I mean I don't think I should. I agree with like not betting the turn, but like the river, I definitely should have considered the value raise. So that was a mistake, but it's fine. The reason I don't want to bet the turn is because when I raised there and he starts calling, like honestly he should probably just fold that hand. To be honest, in my opinion, he should just fold aces. But like, it's very specific to the spot, because my range here is going to be incredibly strong. Like realistically, but there is this fish dynamic too, where like if I have a hand like 9s, I probably just want to call and keep the fish in. So like if he knows that, then he's probably thinking, oh, this guy might just have like a bunch of, you know, flush draws like and stuff. So I kind of see his logic there, but like my range is supposed to be strong. So when the flush comes on the turn, like my value hands generally don't want to bet, considering his calling range is going to be very orientated around flush draws, combo draws, and sets and stuff. So like I mean there is value for me to bet the turn probably as a block, but I also think just checking this hand, because I'll be drawing dead to like his strongest value hands. I'm completely drawing dead to them. So I could like block turn, but then if he jams I'm like in a really shit spot. I'd probably still have to call, because he could perhaps just do it with a set, But I feel like he also just runs it with a set on the flop, so I feel like his range is his range is going to be a lot of like flush draws, so that's why I'm checking a turn. And the river though, like he uses the like 15-20% size or whatever, and I just snap call. I snap call because I just think, oh okay, he actually had a set on the flop that he didn't raise. Maybe he wanted to just see what the turn was before he started raising, but you see what I mean. Like, that's kind of what my brain was thinking. I thought, oh, I'm not going to get value, so I just snap called. But like, I really should just thought, okay, he probably doesn't have too many flushes for this line, so I probably can just value raise. Although, here's what I think would have happened if I raised. I think if I raised this, like if I did that and then I raised this to like, say 25 BB, right? He is ace spades. He's probably just going to shove the river as a bluff and make me fold. So I kind of inadvertently got away with it, I reckon, but still should have thought about it. Yeah, we're just gonna bet pot. Recreational player. Because he's probably just gonna call with like any 8, any 10. And because he's in the blinds, I'm gonna open this hand too. Defend king jack offsuit. Flop. We could do a little bit of raising here if we wanted to. Hit the randomizer. We actually rolled a raise, but he checks. Generally on this board, I like to check super high frequency. I could bet and use a bigger size. I'm gonna just check. I'm gonna check raise against anything smaller than 2/3. So that's what we're gonna do. Probably gonna go a bit bigger than this. Queen 6, which defend BBV. We're gonna sometimes raise this versus a small c bet. And we have value bet here for sure. But I don't think we have a huge one. I'm gonna fold. He looks special. Use 2/3. It might be worth smaller. My hand genuinely might just only be worth block. It's not worth overbet, that's for sure. I'm just gonna stab for a small size here. I'm gonna do this very wide because I'm floating this spot with a lot of like backdoors. So like a small stab size is pretty nice, and just having hands like Queen 6 is pretty good. He folded, didn't he? Yeah. And generally in these kind of boards, even it's a massive simplification, but I will just check back my entire range. It's too broad, but you probably can just bet. You can just bet. I'm gonna free bet the fish because I want to be heads up with him. Gonna check here. So yeah, I check, and then if he doesn't start betting big, I'll just start check raising with a hand that's as strong as this. Against the fish, I'm gonna start bluffing. I'm gonna use this because I think if I go too big, I get 4 bet. 8's kind of a weird hand. Yeah, call win position. Gonna value bet half pot. So like this, I have a normal 4 bet range here. This is probably a hand that would maybe not want to call, but like if he's paying attention, he should know I'm very wide here. Gonna call raise. I'm gonna call flop. Rainbow board. Now I have like a nothing hand. I would turn my hand into a bluff. I'm gonna just like bet 20% shove river. Check this one back. I hope he wasn't bluffing with some airball ace-x hand. Oh, he hit king 4 obviously. Okay, fair enough. Speaking of king 4, yeah, it's very easy fold. We have 8 high. Okay, we are coming towards the end of our session. I'm surprised that sometimes I can find better tables at like 10 in the morning than I can in the evening. With 2.5x in this, I think we just want to really give people as little chance as possible to cold call, because there's a fish that's likely to cold call. So if it's 2.2x, people are going to cold call slightly bit wider than 2.5x. We're just going to quarter pot range here. You can also use a polarized strategy in this flop. There's very little EV difference. It's minimal, and like it's completely dependent on how well villain plays against quarter pot versus overbet as well. We check turn with our no equity holding. Versus check, I would expect his range to be heavily weighted around Queen X. Some Ace X. He uses this size. We obviously fold. We're not going to bluff with complete airball here. He's also likely to be under bluffing in that spot. Depends on the player, obviously. Let's get rid of that note, it's kind of useless. Undetermined wreck. Mid open, we defend. We missed the flop, hoping for a check so that we can start bluffing. We're open really out of line here. The fish in the blind. Against the fish, it's easier to just bet turn for small size. I think I'm just check. Happy to check call because he's just gonna have like loads of like random one club hands, and he might just bluff forever with. He just had an ace, so like when he has a hand, it's good. We pretty much get away with losing the minimum. I'm gonna cold call against mid open, even though I have twos, which are a pretty bad hand. Obviously, I fold to a squeeze, but small investment to see a flop against a recreational player is worth it. Like generally, this is a profitable flat. It's just, you know, you just don't overplay pre-flop. You don't overplay post-flop. You take your bluffing opportunities when you get them. With a backdoor straight. So to do the same line here, but this time we're going to bluff the river unless we hit deuces. We squeeze this. 8-7 suited. We could also call and take a flop, but it's a decent multi-way flop. But it's the same thing really. We just want to get heads up in position to the fish. I'm just going to do the same line as before. I could almost bet bigger size and get this one in, but I think I'd rather have a flush draw. So on a rainbow board I'd probably just pot and shove the turn, but here I'm just going to half pot. Oh. I can honestly just shove the turn here. I'm just going to bet big. Well, we have nuts. Donk jam. I don't know what that. I think that was kind of I don't really want to bluff catch. But like it's definitely the wrong choice. That's why they're fish. He's quite tight. I do want to loosen my range though, so I'm going to actually put this as a call. I was thinking of free betting him, but he seemed like he's relatively tight with his VPIP, so we're just going to call and try and exploit his post-flop tendencies by using this size on the turn, which is like theoretically nonsense size, but because he's a weaker player, we just get away with that. we get away while we're doing that strategy. Yeah, anyway. Fish has done it off on all the tables. Let's sit out. Let's do one more. Finish all these hands off. Ace 4. I feel like cold calling fish. I think this is just a free bet though. Even against under the gun, it's okay. Certainly a free bet from the button. I think we free bet call 4 bet. I feel like anyway. Maybe no, I think we fold to 4 bet. Unless he like goes 15 BB, then we can call. Oops. And here we're just going to use quarter pot in position. Like we make him fold like all of his under pairs basically without a club. And here we're going to get it in. Which I think I want to go this size. I can go 24 BB too, I guess. Okay, good luck us. 8, interesting. 1 for him. 1 for me. Let's make a note. I mean, obviously, I guess he felt too pressured by the sizing to call, so he decided to shove. But I'll just make a note. If I'd gone 24 BB, I think he just calls, and you know, we get stacked because he flopped the set. Well, he wouldn't get stacked, but we'd get stacked if he played it well. Just gonna bet small on this board. It's quite an interesting spot because he doesn't raise the flop, but he does have some of these gut shots, but I also have them, so I think I'm just going 2/3 this turn for value. We're going to call raise on the turn. Like there's going to be just a bunch of like 7x here, like that he doesn't raise with, like Jack 7. And I think after he doesn't raise flop or turn, the 8x is very discounted from his range. He could have it sometimes, I guess. But yeah, we do. We just get value bet. I think I can use 66 or 80%. Let's use this size with a 9. I think I could even. I don't think I go bigger than this. Like maybe over pairs, maybe. Just because he's not raised, he's gonna have very few hands here. I mean, he can maybe have 3s. He's just gonna have a lot of 9x, maybe some ace high. Yeah, weak pocket pair, stuff like that. Okay, that was all my hands. I'm gonna take a break. Tables have all died anyway. Just check how much for the thing. 1 buy-in up there, and then I don't know how many buy-ins up on the party. Anyway, we'll call that for now, and yeah, see you guys later.